Gonzalez's parents did an interview with Good Morning America this morning. In the interview, her parents revealed a detail about the crime scene, specifically about Kaylee, that we hadn't heard before.
Kaylee was kind of sitting up.
Yes.
And had fought.
Yeah. And the way that room's put together, if you come through that door, you can't get out of that room.
Completely, totally trapped.
Yeah. You're in
tiny,
a bed.
Tiny room. The bed was the entire room. You could barely open up the door without swiping the foot of the bed. And it was wall. You know, the headboard was up against the wall. The side where Kaylee was on was up against the wall. And if you can imagine Kaylee in an upright sort of position, up in the corner, slumped.
When this investigation first started, we were led to believe that they were found side by side. We were led to believe that they were sleeping, which very well might be the case. But based on what we just heard about how Kaylee was found, and based on something else that her father said in this interview, I'm starting to question things. I'm going to play this clip with her father now.
And the way that room's put together, if you come through that door, you can't get out of that room.
Completely, totally trapped.
So he says, when you come through that door, you can't get out. And her mother says, you're trapped. I want to take a look at the virtual tour of Maddie's room so that we can get an idea of what they're talking about. Now, what I'm trying to figure out is, was this just sort of an off-the-cuff comment? Or did Kaylee's father reveal a very important detail or specific detail that we didn't know for sure yet? See, many people, me included, I always thought Kaylee went to Maddie's room to use her phone or use her charger because she was trying to call Jack and Jack wasn't answering, and she was just, being a drunk girl and like texting from someone else's phone to see if he would answer. I always thought that she just closed the door behind her, left Murphy there, and went into Maddie's room. Now, what's interesting, because I wasn't able to picture this, I didn't know this, both of the bedrooms are right at the top of the stairs. So he really could have gone either way when he got up there. So I always thought Kaylee was already in there when he came in. And now I'm wondering, based on what Kaylee's father said, I'm wondering if she walked in on the attack. I remembered that line in While Idaho Slept, or When Idaho Slept, that book about the murders. Specifically the part where they're talking from Dylan's point of view, and she says that she's awoken at around 4 to what she thought was Kaylee playing with her dog. And she described the noises above as shuffling. And I couldn't understand that because I thought, if they're both in bed, and that room is so small, like, who's walking around there? Like, what's going on there? And now I'm wondering, could that shuffling have been a struggle? The reason why this never made sense to me was because I always felt as though if Kaylee walked in on that attack, she would be able to back out of the door. She would be able to scream. She would be able to do something. And so I'm wondering, if she walked through the door, if she walked in on the attack, how did he get her in that room without a lot of noise? Now, this isn't to say that things didn't unfold the way we've been led to believe, or that we've believed, which is that Kaylee was asleep and maybe jolted awake and sat up because she felt movement on the bed or she heard noise. And that's when she was attacked. I just thought it was very interesting that her father made it a point to talk about how you were trapped when you walked through that door. Now, I want to talk about another video that I saw from the Law and Crime Network. And in this video, they're analyzing the Linda Lane footage. Specifically, a handful of points throughout the time frame when we believe the murders occurred. And now I don't know if they've enhanced this in some way. These are definitely not sounds that I was able to hear the first time I listened. And I went back to the original footage that I listened to, and I couldn't hear them. But maybe they just enhanced them so that people could hear it. Now I'm going to play the first one for you.
Okay, at 4:14:56, only seconds later, you're going to hear what people say is a thud, and then at 4:15:03, okay, you're going to hear a second thud. Let's play both of those.
Now I have to be honest, those don't sound like thuds to me. Those sound like car doors. Those sound like dumpsters. It sounds like something with an echo. Not to mention, I don't know that those cameras would be able to pick up that kind of noise from the King Roadhouse, because remember, these cameras aren't that close to the King Roadhouse. I think it's something like 300 feet. So I don't think these thuds have anything to do with the murders. Now let's move on to the next clip.
You hear that, what it sounds like a dog. Then at 4:21:01 a.m., you can hear what sounds like a car door shutting.
That doesn't sound like a car door shutting to me. That sounds like a trunk shutting to me. A trunk being closed with force. And finally, we hear the car taking off. A lot of people ask, well, do you think that they would have identified him if they didn't have the DNA? And my answer would be yes, because of how fast that car took off. Because right away, they're going to be focused on that car, they're going to hone in on it. And I happen to think that they caught the fact that there was no front license plate, which made their search for that car much easier. I think that maybe they didn't publicize that they knew there was no front license plate because they didn't want him to actually do what he did, which was change his plates or get the front license plate something like a week later. And even that's interesting, because someone might argue, well, he changed his plates a week after the murders. If you look at the Carfax, he actually updated his registration at the same time every year, making me wonder, did he choose this night on purpose because he knew he was going to be changing his plates and doing his registration? And to close out this episode, let's talk about the Instagram warrant. Now, according to that Instagram warrant, the time frame that investigators were looking for looking through the Instagram activity was June 22nd, 2022 to November 21st, 2022. And people are wondering, why are they looking for activity past the dates that the murder occurred? And I think it has to do with them trying to look at the activity around those pages, people who were commenting, people who might be, doing whatever. It's kind of like when they hold a funeral and they say that, the suspect often shows up. I think what investigators might be looking for is to see if there was anybody liking photos or removing likes or removing a follow. They could be looking for that as well. They're going to want to see who would unfollow them, who might go through the pages and unlike things to sort of wipe out their trail. Although I'm not sure if you could ever really fully wipe it out, but but they would want to know what kind of behavior was going on regarding those accounts, and was there anything kind of sketchy or odd? Because even if he didn't have an account, even if he didn't use his device to be on those platforms, doesn't mean he didn't visit those pages. They might be looking through the follows and unfollows and the unlikes and whatnot to see if somebody might be trying to cover their tracks. And if they are, then they can, I think, maybe request information for the accounts that were covering their tracks. But now I want to hear from you. I want to hear what you think happened with Kaylee. Did she walk in on the attack, or did she just wake up in the middle of it? And I also want to know, why do you think they're extending the warrants for Instagram to November 21st, 8 days after the murders? Leave your thoughts in the comments.